I'm Turd Strongman at Tharanki Ramachuraka. Thank you for selecting this video on cages. That's what we'll call it. Cages. Before I continue, now would be a pretty good time to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell thing. It would also be a good time to give this video a thumb up because you're likely going to forget about it after the video is over. Comment courteously below at any point. Cages. Why are we talking about cages? Well, you ever feel like you're in a cage? That's the sort of thing I'm getting at when I say cages. But I'm going to talk about a physical one first. Any physical cage for a pet or an animal, okay? A captured animal, a domesticated animal that you don't want to have roaming free. You put it in a cage. Seems to be normal enough, right? It's just an animal. It's got to be put in a cage sometimes. And it might be, for, protecting its life. Maybe it's a rabbit, and you keep it outside in a cage. Yeah, it keeps the rabbit from running away, but is the rabbit going to run far if it's your pet? I don't know. Probably not. But it keeps predators from getting to the rabbit, the cage. That's a good thing. And some animals even seem to like being in a cage. It makes them feel secure, like maybe a bunny. Right? But I've known people who have pet rabbits, and the rabbit seems to be fine without, outside of the cage too. Just fine. Maybe it just accepts the fact that it gets put in a cage. And then, kind of like basks in the joy of knowing that no wolf is going to eat it today. I knew of another animal in a cage. I rented a room from a woman, a room in her house. She was a veterinary technician. She knew animals. She had a compassion for them. In her living room, there was a fair-sized bird cage, pretty big bird cage, hung from the ceiling. I guess it was about 5 feet tall, 3 feet in diameter, big round, like barrel-shaped thing. And there was a bird in it. A cockatoo. Do you know what a cockatoo is? It's native to Australia. A cockatoo is a big bird. It's a big bird. Toucan Sam, the macaw, the cartoon character, I guess he was. Toucan's almost the size of a macaw. In Australia, these birds, these toucans, they fly around in flocks. They are rarely seen individually alone. They fly around in flocks. They thrive in being mobile together with others of their kind. And when a flock is seen approaching your property, let's say you live there, you have property, you have a house, nice paint job on the house, and so forth. You see a flock of cockatoos, they're white, arriving and beginning to land and roost on your property. It's time to be concerned. because they destroy everything by eating it. They will eat the paint off your house within a few hours. And it's pretty hard to get them to stop. They'll eat it. They'll eat the paint off your house. You'll have no paint. And then they'll go away. Why? It's what they do. There was a cockatoo in this cage. I knew a woman from Australia. She came there to visit me, and she saw the cockatoo in the cage that belonged to this veterinary technician who knew all about animals, had great compassion for animals. And, she, the veterinary technician, was heard by me saying, the cockatoo is a cage bird. It's fine. Now, this bird was going to live longer than the woman. This bird is going to spend its entire life in that cage. She didn't have it out. She didn't let it out. She said she used to now and then, but it began to eat the wallpaper in the living room off the wall, and I could see there were bits missing. No damage to the wall. It's just the wallpaper was not there. It was like torn off. Well, it was down to whatever the wallpaper was on. I mean, it wasn't just ripped off with some backing left on there. No. The paper was eaten off the wall. She said, that's why, I can't let it out. Besides, it's a cage animal. It's a cage bird. Well, the woman I knew from Australia, she didn't have to hear anybody say that. She didn't have to think about this. The moment she saw the bird in the cage, in this living room, a mood of lividness came across her. She was pissed off. It was like somebody did something to hurt her. It was like somebody injured her. She inquired, how long has that bird been in that cage? I said, all its life, as far as I know, and it's still pretty young. And I don't see any time coming when it's going to get out of that cage. And she said, oh my God. Oh no. Oh my God. She was about to cry. I said, yeah, okay, yeah. Not a good place for a bird like that, is it? She said, not a good place for a bird like that. Not a good place, especially for that kind of a bird. That bird's going to go crazy. That bird is not going to be sane anymore. And it already wasn't. I could tell that. It wasn't right. It had been affected pretty badly. A woman from Australia said, that bird, there's no way a cockatoo should ever be kept away from other cockatoos. And no way confined. That's just not the cockatoo. That will not do for the cockatoo. And And yet, it seemed like the thing to do. It's a cage bird. It likes it there. See how it just sits? Yeah. Yeah. And when the woman wasn't home, that cockatoo never went for more than maybe a minute without screaming as loud as it could. It could be heard outside the house and up to 3 houses on down all the time. Never stopped. And it was loud, and it sounded rather I don't know, man. It sounded like a cry for help that it knew was not going to ever come. It was sick. It was ruined. It had lost it. It would do that. That was the result. What does this have to do with you? Your inner nature, your spirit, let's say, demands freedom. Anything which inhibits its expression, its existence, and the like, is not of it, and causes an inner feeling of being in a cage. Have you ever felt it? Do you have at least the awareness of a cockatoo? Do you? If you are not doing your best the road to your own mastery of self by self, personal involvement, and establishment of true selfhood, you are keeping yourself in a cage. And you are harmonizing yourself with many others of various different natures who also keep you in a cage. As long as you do nothing about it. And even some of your most earnest efforts with the most enduring persistence may seem to yield no result for quite a while. But without that earnestness and persistence, you will cut off all possibilities of escape from your own cage of ignorance, consciousness hijacking, and perception deception, and just downright self-imprisonment. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? Oh, you don't know a way where to turn? You're looking at this video, you turn to the right channel. You know, some say, it's a popular belief, you know. Now, like, if you meet the Buddha, kill him because he's not the Buddha. You know, if he says he's the Buddha, kill the bastard because he's out to do harm. Anybody, you know, along with this goes, hey, anybody with the real material, you know, you're not gonna find that. Shit. Man, nobody's gonna come around from, you know, some Himalayan crag and come over here to the Western world and, you know, like, write a book and get it, you know, in you know, the local metaphysical bookstore, you know, right beside the candles and the witchcraft materials. No, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So you may decide, well, I'm just gonna reject anything. You know, I'm in the rejecting mode. I'm in the rejecting mode until I come upon something that's the real shit, which is not gonna happen. Let me ask you this. If you're so damn good at determining what's not genuine, how good are you at noticing when something is? How would you know? So you're just a hater, huh? You're just a doubter. Oh, you know, some healthy skepticism, huh? About as healthy as that cockatoo. Healthy as that cockatoo, and no more. That cockatoo could open that cage door and fly back to Australia and find its kind. I bet it would not hesitate, even if it had to buy a ticket. Do you have that capacity in yourself? Do you have the capacity of a cockatoo in a cage with the door open? Huh? Would you even know what the door looked like? Don't be so sure. Sometimes you have to just take somebody else's word for it. I want you to look into my eyes right now. Look at my face and listen to my voice. Do I look like somebody bullshitting? Anybody? If I say, where would you look? Well, you're here. Look further. Here. That would be a good place to start. Might be the only place you ever need. Then what? Who are you to say, oh, prove it? Huh? Now, the proof is here. You just have to look at it and engage yourself in it, or you're still going to be in your cage. Just know some fancy words, whereas before you didn't. Thank you for selecting this video on the cage. If you like the video, give it a thumb up. Give it one anyway. Let other people know that maybe it's worth looking at. Subscribe, get notified, comment courteously. This is the Ron Q. Ramage Rock, and I'm Turk Strawman. Go forth. Then be well.